Go. Welcome back to Film Talk Weekly. We're here with the multi-talented Alexandria Bombach. She's had the Chicken and Egg Award recently. She's was awarded by the Heartland Film Festival with a $25,000 grant, which she quickly gifted to the subject of her film, Nadia Murad. And we're so happy to have her here. She's somebody who is remodeling a home in Santa Fe is her latest project. And, you know, really the type of guest we're excited to have on this show. So thank you so much for being with us, Alexandria.
Oh, it was super fun. Thanks for having me.
Is there anything before I jump into a couple questions that you'd like to say to our audience, or just any updates that we could expect from you?
No, I mean, right now I'm just working on an edit, a film about the Indigo girls and the home renovation, which it feels like very similar projects in a way, or I don't know, they share a lot of commonalities, building a home and making a film.
Certainly. So your most recent picture was On Her Shoulders, and I know you're working on the film about the Indigo girls.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about On Her Shoulders, and then you know, anything, any recent news?
Sure, yeah. So On Her Shoulders is about Nadia Murad. Gosh, I'm so in this other world right now. It's going to take me a second to describe what On Her Shoulders is about. But that film came out in 2018 at Sundance and was very lucky to play at the Santa Fe Independent Film Festival too, of course. And it's a film about Nadia Murad and her journey as a spokesperson and face of the Yazidi genocide. And Nadia is still doing work on that issue and has her own organization now. I mean, even after we filmed, she received the Nobel Peace Prize and was becoming more and more recognized even way after the film. So we caught her in a time that was very specific, that she had really only just begun her journey. And more than anything, I think it was kind of a look into what that's like, to be on the road and be constantly asking or answering questions. She went through a horrific experience of sexual slavery and genocide, where many of her family members were killed, and she had to tell her story over and over and over again. And so it's kind of a critical look of advocacy in the UN, and just how we kind of commodify women, especially from the Middle East, and use them in a way to, I don't know, make ourselves feel better about things that we're complicit in. So that was a very heavy film, and was, you know, probably one of the most important films I'll ever make. But I needed to take a break in a big way, and I was very lucky that it was just such incredible timing that a dear friend and a director I had met at a retreat introduced me to the Indigo girls, because Kathleen Horan, she had been filming with them and friends of theirs for like 30 years. And I had been a fan, you know, since I was 12. And I was actually in the middle of the edit of On Her Shoulders and just exhausted, just raw to the bone, and needed to tell a story that was a bit more healing for me. And the Indigo girls have always been a band that has been incredibly healing. And the film is that too. I'm just so grateful I'm telling this story during 2020 and 2021 and not On Her Shoulders. So that's something I'm very grateful for.
So there, in On Her Shoulders, there is a ton of archival footage and news media footage. Do you want to touch on a little bit of that, and how putting that together works? How, you know, I know research is one of your strengths. So.
Oh, maybe, I don't know. It's funny because that film did have some archive, and I think putting together the pieces of interviews that she had done before she was even revealing her face, and had a lot of help with just finding those pieces. I think the harder part was actually translations in that film. And translations is just, I think, often an overlooked part of the documentary process. I take it very seriously. I have multiple people who check and recheck what we're saying, and there's a lot of nuance. It's kind of an art. And Nadia spoke a very specific type of Kurdish, Kermanji, that very few people spoke who also spoke English. And so it was a very difficult process. And that says a lot, given this woman is speaking in front of the UN, and the translators, who are incredible, are translating her speeches as she's talking, which is just an amazing feat if you know the language. But Nadia was speaking Arabic, which wasn't her first language, and they're translating it in real time. So in a way, there's going to be mistakes and there's going to be nuances that are lost. And with her speeches in our film, in her interviews, I spent so much time on really trying to get the nuance of things that she was saying. And so in some kind of way, it was really the first time we actually got to hear from her. But with Archive, the Indigo Girls film, I didn't know this was going to be the case, but Amy Ray from the Indigo Girls actually filmed their career with a film camera or handheld camera, for 35 plus years. And we didn't really know this. We knew she had some stuff. And as she started to trust me as the director, it kind of became revealed that she had all this footage, and all of a sudden she opens up this like safe room in her house in North Georgia, and it's just filled with tapes, and it's over 1,000 hours of tapes of their lives. And so going into this film, I was so excited. I was like, oh, it's going to be my first film in English. And I thought it was going to be a breeze. And little did I know how complicated an archive film would be. And it's just so much to hold in my brain. Yeah.
The intensity of On Your Shoulders over the extended travel you did, and the character who's like her confidant and support and translator, it was amazing how that almost became like, a love story at some level.
Yeah, a deep respect and almost family. I mean, family in a big way. I mean, Murad Ismail, who had, been through his own kinds of trauma, and that could have been its own film. Really went from a B story to just something that was incredibly critical, because it was just so obvious how much her success, and that's why the film's called On Her Shoulders, because it's, her being successful. The Yazidis and many people felt that was the way that so many things were going to get solved. And the pressure on Murad, who was her everything at that point, like taking her from place to place and setting up these meetings, and they were going so quickly. It was a lot of pressure on him as well. And yeah, I'm really grateful that they trusted us with this story, because it was so sensitive and just painful.
Yes.
Yeah. But on to happier things now, so that's good. Yeah.
You're listening to Film Talk Weekly on KTRC 98.1 FM and 103.7 AM. We're here with Alexandria Bombach, the award-winning documenteur, and we're really excited to be having this conversation, talking about your work and also being a filmmaker living in Santa Fe, which we know is more and more rare, but we're really looking to you, as not just a leader in that way, but you're also on the Santa Fe Film Commission. You also do a lot of work with young creative women. So is there anything you want to get into that's not so focused on your work, but on your life here in Santa Fe?
Yeah, I mean, it crosses over a lot for me. I mean, Santa Fe, I grew up here and in Albuquerque, and for about a decade, I was living on the road. My first feature was in Afghanistan. I made a few films there, and a lot of films in Mexico, and just all over the place. And I I think after On Her Shoulders, I was really looking to have a more solid base, just for mental health reasons. And Santa Fe just made a lot of sense to me because my family's all here. You know, everybody's here from grandparents to siblings. And I just felt that, you know, it was important for me to be in a place where I could really turn off. When I'm in New York or LA, you know, I don't want it to, and a lot of my closest friends are in New York and LA, but it eventually ends up feeling like a rush, and you have to network or be on it or be, you know, quote unquote busy. And I found that that's just not productive for me, and it's kind of a lot of wheels turning for no reason. And you know, I feel more like an editor. I associate strongly with being an editor more than I do a director. Like really, I only feel like a director when I'm on the festival circuit. But I am, you know, an introverted, masochistic editor at heart. So I need a place to decompress and be away from it all. I mean, it's really ironic in 2020 because now I am missing like my people and networks and film festivals so much, obviously. But Santa Fe was just an obvious choice. It's just such a beautiful place. I can't imagine myself anywhere else. I think growing up here with, you know, adobe homes and the kind of landscape that's here, it's hard to go other places. It gets under your skin, and I really appreciate when other people come here and appreciate that too. And the home I wanted to buy, for me, it was a priority to make spaces where people could come and have retreats here and appreciate the quiet away from the bustle of New York and LA and making films. And so in the home that I'm renovating right now, which is a 70-year-old adobe, and I'm actually working with my stepdad, Kevin Skelly, who's a master builder here in town. I'm really lucky to have him on the project. The inside the home, I'm building a apartment where people can come, and it's like an open studio, and then it's going to have a really massive edit suite and hopefully like a little small theater where we can screen films. So I think I'm constantly trying to build, and you and I, Jacques, have talked about this a bunch, that I want to build more community here. And before the pandemic, we were having film salons with women filmmakers, and that felt so good to have that connection with people. And because I mean, that's what makes this work so rewarding in a lot of ways, because it is very isolating work to sit here in front of these screens, especially, you know, if you're in post. But it is a lot of the time very isolating work. And so to have community here is really, really important to me. And that was a big part of joining the film commission and just wanting to be more involved with the festival. And so this place is an escape for me, but I hope we can build more and more community as the years go on.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with Alexandria Bombach. This is Film Talk Weekly on KTRC.